but the key thing that I work with people on is when they're really looking at building their kick-ass team, I hear a lot of, it's a lot of the team's fault that they're not awesome, or they're not kicking ass, or, where are all the good people? I couldn't hire anyone good. I've kind of got what I've got. No one does as I tell them. No one does it as good as me. Why don't they work as hard as me? They're never on time. They don't look sharp. Like, I'm sick of telling this person this or that. And I'm like, I've heard about 5 or 6 different people. Who's the common denominator in this?
Can I just get a quick show of hands? Who sort of said, God, I'm sick of telling them to do that? Yeah. I'm sick of having to tell somebody to do something so many times. Yeah. Good. It's a really good point, Jade.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the problem is you. It really is you 99% of the time. You either hired wrong, you're onboarded wrong, you didn't set them up for success. There's something that you could have done differently. Every now and then someone goes off the rails, and that happens. But what I really would love to challenge you on is taking extreme ownership. So has anyone read Jocko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership, or his Dichotomy of Leadership books? No hands. Okay.
Chris has.
Oh, Chris is driving as well. Thank you, Chris. Does everyone know who SEAL Team 6 is? Getting a few nods. Can I have a hand up and a wave if you don't know who SEAL Team 6 is? Oh, cool. Wow. Okay. Amazing. SEAL Team 6 is the elite level Navy SEALs unit, like sent in to capture bin Laden, etc. Right? It costs, I think it costs something like $36 million to train one SEAL member to be on that team. Okay. So, they're pretty good. They trusted with the world's safety and things like that. But you can imagine a unit like that needs to have group flow. They need to be able to act really as a team. They need to shed the ego. They need to play to the strengths of the individual. They need to know without words who needs to take the lead at what time and who needs to step back. And they're just that next level of team, right? Jocko Willink is the guy that leads them and helps deploy them into the situations, has to make the calls on what the mission is, what the mission isn't, where they pull the pin, where do they abort, where do they, like, can you think about the level of decisions this dude's got to make? He really comes down to the reason why he wrote this book, Extreme Ownership, is he talks about not only how you get the respect of your team, but also your ability to reflect and make better decisions moving forward. Like, he tells a story in the book where they thought they made a pretty big fuck up. Like, there was friendly fire and they lost a man, and, it was pretty bad. And you could think gonna get fired. You could think the team's gonna blame. And it was a whole story around taking ownership of the decision-making and really looking at the learning lessons from it and what can be done for the future. And that being able to put his hand up and just own it saved not only the unit, but his career. But most importantly, it was the learnings from that made a much bigger mission possible. And if they didn't have that perceived failure and the learnings and the taking out of the ego to own it, they never would have achieved what they needed to achieve the next time round. So the concept of extreme ownership is not around blame. It's not about beating yourself up. It's what I really want you to distill it back to is, where can you realize you're at cause, right? And if I went into my big woo-woo spiritual stuff, we are always at cause. I won't go too woo-woo now. We'll stick with the hardcore stuff. But we are always at cause. In every situation, there is something, a little tiny thing that we did that impacted the result that we got. Now, whether that's showing up to a team meeting, like with your energy all off, like you've had a mad fight with your partner, you're so pissed off at them, the kids have been a nightmare, you've had no sleep, the traffic's been absolutely fucked, right? And you walk in and you're about to do a pump up session for your team and you think, you know, I've got my fake smile on, I'm ready to roll. But the energy that's radiating from you is like, fuck off. And depending on how sensitive your team is and how well they read energy, we all know we're good with the woo-woo, like we're all energy stuff. Everyone gets that, right? Right? When you walk in projecting that energy, and your people will be able to read the fakeness, and that puts them on the back foot as well. There's all those tiny, tiny, tiny micro cues, the nonverbal communication that people pick up, right? They pick it up on Zoom too, right? They hear it in the tone of your voice. Everything is resonance. The moment that you are coming in like that, you can have a knock-on effect and a domino on the outcome you have, right? So in an instance like that, you could take extreme ownership and go, do you know what? I need to step into third space. I need to clear the decks. I need to get myself, I feel like, can you guys see the mist in my face? I wanted to make sure that I was zen as F for you guys. So I've got my oil diffuser and it's blowing in my face. So
I thought you'd been vaping or something.
I've been vaping.
Yeah.
Get this out of my face. But
hey, while Jade's doing that, so Jade, I had a client a number of years ago who that exact scenario happened to him, and I said to him, you know, it's like walking through mud. If you walk through mud and then you walk into your office and you don't wipe your feet, you're going to carry that stuff across the floor. And so that's exactly, if you don't change your mindset, your frame of mind before you walk in the door, it doesn't matter what fake it till you make it smile you put on your face. You're leaving that mud all across the carpet as you walk through through your business. So 100%.
You've got that energy hangover, and it does affect how you react to situations. Like something that you may have been a bit more calm and responded to, you might react to because you're triggered. Like someone speaks over you in a meeting and it triggers you as a memory of your partner who's just spoke over you all morning when you're trying to have a discussion, and then next minute you're triggered and you're up and you're reacting rather than responding. So like even a small thing like that, being able to go, right, what am I going to do to have a third space? How do I clear the decks, manage my energy? Like smelling some oils, doing 3 rounds of box breathing just to get yourself settled, like a little bit of mindfulness, going, okay, cool. What's happened this morning? Great. No worries. That's not awesome. I'm going to just park that over there. I'm going to deal with that after. What's the outcome that I want to have when I walk into this meeting? What's the feeling and the energy that I want to project to these people? Okay, going to get myself in that zone. Might have to listen to some Rage Against the Machine in the car and fucking pump myself up to get rid of the anger before I get in there. Or I might need to listen to Zen stuff. I might need to listen to an audio book to get me into the zone of being a conscious leader. Having a tool belt that helps you change state is super, super powerful. So that was just an example. But the whole thing I want you to do, and let's just enter the chat. Think about, where can you take some ownership? Where can you realize that you may have been at cause in positive and negative, the results of your team? So if you're not, like, definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you've been telling a person the same fucking thing all the time and they're still not doing it, that's your fault. Do you know why? Because communication, the responsibility lands on the person who is speaking, not on the person who is receiving. It is your job to meet them where they're at. They may not be an audible learner, and maybe you're going blah, 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 blah at them, and their ADD is hell and their brains flitted off somewhere else and all they heard was blah, didn't get the blah, 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 right? Maybe they need to see things written down. Maybe they're a type of person that needs to have something walked through and shown to them or explained and then them demonstrate it back. You need to think about, where can you meet them where they're at? If you're not getting the outcome you want, you've got to figure out what else you can do. Doing the same thing over and over again is not going to work. Same thing works with little mini humans, those little mini humans. We like to think that they're the outline of ourselves and our little minis. But unfortunately or fortunately, they have their own personalities and own learning styles, and you've got to meet them where they're at too.